Hello and welcome to the Boxing Promoter Podcast with myself, Jack Blair. This week we're just going to do a short podcast. There's only one real thing to discuss, which is pretty cool. So we'll get straight onto that. A lot of feedback that come in from testing the game and from myself as well is that as a promoter you're kind of scheduling singular fights, whereas obviously in real life you schedule a whole show, a whole night, an event, pick your main event, and then have all your undercard, and you have to sort out obviously all of the everything that comes with putting together that card and promoting it and getting all of the boxes together, opponents, etc. So that's something that I've been doing some designs on to try and change the whole kind of structure of how the fights work within the boxing promoter. Now this won't be in before the full release. This is something that could be, if people like the look of it enough, it could be in as a first update or second update, etc. on the game. So one to keep an eye on for the future. So we'll go through some of the images now. So to start with, rather than booking fights, you just go straight into, say, book event. I'm not sure whether to call it event or show or fight night, but let me know your thoughts on that, obviously. So you go and you can see all of your current events. You click on to book a new event. Then the first thing to do, which in my opinion this makes perfect sense to the real world situation, is to get your main event sorted, because everything kind of filters around what your main event is, such as like the venue and how many people are going to be able to watch it, TV licensing and stuff like that. It very much depends on what that main event is. So you choose what fighter of yours is going to kind of headline the bill. Obviously get their opponent booked, send your offers out. We might change fight purse, not certain how to do that just yet, but that's something that's going to be looked at as well, maybe on a future podcast. So the next thing to look at is then the location. Location is something that I really want to bring into the game at some point in the future, rather than just that everything takes place in the same area. There's no areas basically. Each boxer would have to have an assigned nationality and a fan base for each nation that they are fighting in, because you get boxers from wherever, from Mexico fighting in London, and London fans are never going to know who they are and stuff, whereas you get a local guy coming from London to fight in London, and most people will know where they are, and they're going to get a bigger fan base there. So that's something that we'll look at adding into the boxers. So then when it comes to scheduling an event, you picked your main event. Now you need to pick what city's going to host it. After that, what venue are you going to have? I don't know what the sort of licensing and rights are with using actual using actual locations and venues. I assume, like everything, I'll probably be stuck with something, so I might need to make fake venues and locations. But anyway, you have a flick through. Obviously you've got to be confident that your main event and the undercard that you're going to put together is going to be good enough to fill that location, because selling tickets and TV licensing will also come in, obviously. So the next thing to consider is an actual date. Now at the moment on the game, everything just works on a time basis, based on the popularity of your fight, who's fighting. It will then give you a time, like a start time for your fight. To change that, and maybe to kind of scrap that idea, would be to have an actual calendar system, start you in a certain year, and then you just have to like forward book your fights. You get a list of potential dates for the venues, because obviously venues are booked in advance for music gigs, etc. So you have to pick your right dates. Weekend dates will probably be more popular than weekday dates, things like that. So once you've got your date sorted and you've got your venue and your main event, then you need to sort out your ticket pricing. They will give you a kind of estimated ticket price, what they usually sell for at these venues. You can increase it. You can increase your VIP tickets, etc., as much as you want, because this is everything a promoter can control. They can try and control how much they want to sell tickets for and how much profit they want to get, whilst being considered, they might not sell out, etc. So on to the next bit, which is your broadcasting deal. these will all kind of similar to the other ones. These will all be unlocked over time, so you won't start off and have a broadcasting deal. You'll start off with no TV deal, and then as maybe your fighters gain a bit of popularity, a local TV deal will come in for your stable or a national one, all the way up to like a worldwide pay-per-view deal with like a leading broadcaster and stuff. So that's important. We all know that in England, like the Sky TV deal is like the real precious one. Box Nation is good, but the Sky TV deal is the precious one. That is where you get so many views, and you can increase the popularity of your fighters and build the whole persona around them just from that TV audience. It's quite incredible. So that will make a massive difference if you can get them TV deals in. So then on to the more specific parts, like having an entertainment setup with an MC and some speakers playing some music, maybe some food and drink, and then kind of scaling up from there to improve the entertainment on the day at your event, just to help fans enjoy themselves even more. The next part would be things like thinking about security. I know probably the venues do their own security, but I know from watching some interviews, security is very important for the actual kind of the host of the event, which is the promoters as well. So ensuring that you've got the best possible security, so the fans feel nice and safe in the event. One thing, a little personalizable touch, which would be good, is to be able to actually name the event yourself. I think this would be really cool. You can come up with like a traditional name, like I got Bad Blood here. That's just like the standard boxing name. But yeah, to be able to put anything you want, and then hopefully we can get that up in a poster or something, would look amazing. So that's something that we'll look at doing for sure. You then get obviously the confirmation of your event that's come in, saying where it's going to be at, when it's going to be held, etc. You should be able to look at your calendar to count down however long it's going to be. And then the next thing, to add the undercard fight. So you go into, again, that same screen to see your upcoming events. And you look at, it tells you what your main event is, and then you've got to look at, well, who do you want to have on the undercard? Pick your fighters and their opponents in the normal way that would be done. Obviously, probably no purse bids involved with undercard fights anyway, so get them all on the undercards, and you start to package together this really good, exciting show that the fans are going to love. And then that's the final point, is the review of your show, which includes all of your expenses. This screen this is just like a real draft. I am actually not sure how I want to present this, or if I'll probably have it on two separate screens. But you see all of your expenses, like the venue, your fighters' salaries, your opponents, etc. And then you cross that with your income, all of your ticket sales, the fighter winnings, etc. And then an overview of everything. And the final bit is the fans' opinion of it. So what did the fans actually think of the show? Were they happy with it? What bits did they like about it? What would they have liked to see more? Were they happy with the fights on the night, the ticket pricing, the entertainment, etc.? And then that should then relate to a popularity increase or decrease based on how much the fans actually enjoyed it and how much of a success your show was. So that is, in a nutshell, all of the work that I was just a little bit of work that I was doing last week, just to try and get some actual visuals together of what it could potentially look like in the future. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Send me a tweet or an Instagram. I think it's called an Instagram. Or just comment on the YouTube video below, give us a thumbs up, whatever, and let me know if you'd like to see something else in there, something that I've missed, a different layout perhaps, whatever. We'll have a look at it. So that was the main thing I wanted to discuss today. There's not too much else going on in the world of boxing right now. Hopefully that will pick up in a bit. I'm sure we'll see some McGregor Mayweather promos and face head-to-heads and press conferences and things like that to pick things up. Other than that update from me, I'll be at the Goodwin Boxing Show this coming Sunday. Wadi Camacho headlining. I'll be doing some reports on some of the fights there, hopefully meeting some boxers, talking about my game, and yeah, I'll be also chatting with the guys from Fight Talk and hopefully speaking with about my game on there and get that published onto Fight Talk, which will be awesome for me. Other than that, next Tuesday, I'll be down in Brighton at the big indie pitch or big developer pitch. I think it's the big developer pitch. So it's a little event down in Brighton for indie developers and designers to go down and talk about their upcoming game project. All of our game ideas will be reviewed and judged by a team of experts from like Amazon and YouTube and places like that. They'll then rank us, and the top 3 positions get a prize, which is basically a grant for advertising, which would be very, very handy for me because I don't have much budget left for advertising purposes. So I'll do my best to go down there and speak to them as I can about the boxing promoter. In past experience, you know, a lot of the people I've spoken to don't really play sports management games, so it could be difficult trying to, you know, get them into the idea of it. What would be really handy, if I could get it, would be some testimonials. I know a lot of people already sent in testimonials about how they were enjoying the beta version of the game. If you already have, can you please like send them again, just in like a public tweet or a an Instagram or a reply or whatever, just so I can use that when I go down to speak to them. I think that getting some user feedback right in front of them could really help, and it's something a bit different to what I assume the other developers will be doing. So that will really help me. What else? Not much from me. I've got my second fight, which is, both of them are like charity fights for Cancer Research UK, on the 15th, so a week on Saturday, and I'm in good shape, nicely prepared for it. If anybody has got any tips that they would like to give me for how best to cope on the day, I did lose my first fight. I'll try and post that up at some point so that you can have a look of me getting beaten up, basically. So yeah, any tips for my second fight, and I'll keep you up to date on how I get on, how sponsorships are going and stuff like that. But yeah, excited about that. That's where a lot of my thought is at the moment, of getting in that ring a week on Saturday. But yeah, hopefully in the next podcast or two, I'll be able to get some much better, information for you regarding an actual release date and things like that. It's really frustrating. I understand it, because it's frustrating for me as well. I want to be able to tell you exactly when this game is going to be released, and we can all get excited about that and look forward to it. But right now, it's not a position where we can put a date on it, because simply I'm waiting for quotes back on work that could or could not be done, depending on whether it is or isn't done, would determine the release date. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some more information on that very soon. But stay tuned for more podcasts. Thank you so much for listening this far, and I'll let you crack on with the rest of your lives now. See you later. Bye.